Charlotte Harper pressed the button for the 20th floor with more force than necessary, her fingers still trembling with frustration. The morning had already been a disaster. She had spilled coffee on her favorite blouse, missed the early train, and now she was running 15 minutes late for the company-wide meeting, where they would officially meet the new CEO. The elevator doors began to close when a hand shot through, triggering them to reopen. A man stepped inside, and Charlotte barely glanced at him, too absorbed in her own irritation. He was tall, wearing an impeccably tailored charcoal suit that probably cost more than her monthly rent. His dark hair was styled perfectly, and when he pressed the button for the executive floor, she noticed his expensive watch catching the light. Just another corporate suit, she thought dismissively. Her phone buzzed with a text from her best friend and coworker, Rebecca. "Can you believe they're making us sit through another one of these dog and pony shows? I heard the new CEO is some Silicon Valley hotshot who's never worked a real day in his life." Charlotte snorted softly, her fingers flying across the screen as she typed back. "Of course he is. Probably another trust fund baby who thinks he can revolutionize the marketing world with his groundbreaking ideas that are actually just common sense wrapped in corporate jargon," she continued, warming to her subject. "I give it 3 months before he realizes he's in over his head and goes running back to whatever tech startup his daddy bought him. These billionaire types are all the same. They waltz in here thinking they're going to change everything, but they don't understand the first thing about what we actually do." The stranger beside her shifted slightly, and Charlotte was vaguely aware of his presence. But she was too caught up in her rant to care. And you know what the worst part is? We're all going to have to sit there and pretend to be excited about his vision for the company, while he spouts buzzwords like synergy and disruption. I swear, if I have to hear one more speech about thinking outside the box, I'm going to lose my mind. Rebecca's response came quickly. "Lo, you're on fire this morning. Save some of that energy for the meeting. I have a feeling we're going to need it." Charlotte grinned at her phone. "Trust me, I've got plenty more where that came from. This Julian Blackwood guy better have thick skin because I am not in the mood to coddle another overpaid executive who thinks he's God's gift to the business world." The elevator dinged, announcing their arrival at the 15th floor. Charlotte finally looked up from her phone, ready to exit, when the stranger spoke for the first time. His voice was deep and smooth, with an edge of amusement that made her stomach drop. "I appreciate the honest feedback, Miss Harper. It's refreshing to know exactly where I stand with my employees before I even introduce myself." Charlotte's head whipped around so fast she nearly gave herself whiplash. Her eyes met his, and she felt the blood drain from her face. Those piercing blue eyes, that strong jawline, the slight smile playing at his lips. She had seen his photo in the company newsletter, but it hadn't done him justice. Julian Blackwood, the new CEO, had been standing next to her the entire time. "Oh my God," she stammered, her phone nearly slipping from her suddenly sweaty palms. Her heart hammered against her ribs as the full weight of what she had just done crashed over her like a tidal wave. She had not only insulted the new CEO to his face, albeit unknowingly, but she had also done it via text message, creating a permanent record of her insubordination. Julian's smile widened slightly, and he crossed his arms over his chest, clearly enjoying her discomfort. "Please don't let me interrupt. You were saying something about trust fund babies and corporate jargon? I'm quite interested to hear more of your thoughts on my qualifications." "Sir, I am so sorry. I didn't know. I thought. I wasn't talking about you specifically." Charlotte's words tumbled over each other in a desperate attempt to explain, but even she knew how pathetic she sounded. The evidence was right there on her phone screen, mocking her with every word she had typed. "Really?" Julian raised an eyebrow, his expression one of polite skepticism. "Because you mentioned my name quite specifically along with some rather colorful predictions about my tenure here. 3 months, I believe you said?" He leaned against the elevator wall, looking completely at ease, while Charlotte felt like she might actually die from embarrassment right there. In the elevator, the doors opened on the 20th floor, and Charlotte's coworkers rushed past, chattering excitedly about the upcoming meeting. None of them noticed the frozen tableau in the elevator, or the way their colleague looked like she was about to faint. Rebecca glanced back, saw Charlotte's pale face, and started to move toward her, but Julian held up a hand. "Miss Harper will join you shortly," he said, with a smile that was all professional courtesy, but somehow felt dangerous. Rebecca's eyes widened as she recognized him, and she gave Charlotte a look that clearly said, "You're screwed." Before scurrying away with the others, Julian pressed the button to keep the doors closed, and turned his full attention to Charlotte. Up close, she could see the intelligence in his eyes, the laugh lines around his mouth that suggested he smiled more often than not, and the way his presence seemed to fill the small space. He was not at all what she had expected, which somehow made everything worse. "I'm going to be fired," Charlotte whispered, more to herself than to him. "I'm going to lose my job because I couldn't keep my big mouth shut for 5 minutes? Fired?" Julian looked genuinely surprised. "Why would I fire you? You're the first person